Does sitting shorten your life? What do you think, class? Raise your hand if you think that it does shorten your life. All right, most of the hands went up, and I'm sad to say most of my class is sitting, which is the way we do it. But let's look at the studies. Let's look at the science. Here are 43 different studies summarized, and almost all of them showed an increase in death with prolonged sitting. So you can sit at work, which unfortunately many people do, or you can have a standing workstation. And in my office, almost every one of my workers has a standing workstation because it makes you live longer. What we find with prolonged sitting is that it increases cardiovascular disease death. It increases total deaths from everything. And here's the dinger. That is regardless of your physical activity. So you go and work out for an hour a day and you sit for 8 hours a day, it's not going to cancel out that prolonged sitting. Prolonged sitting, there are 10,000 published studies confirming that prolonged sitting is a risk factor for poor health and early death. You're twice as likely to have diabetes, heart disease compared to those who sit for shorter periods of time. Muscle loss or sarcopenia increases 33% for each hour of sitting. And sitting for 8 hours in a day increases your risk of type 2 diabetes by a whopping 90%. So we don't want to sit all day if possible. Now, there are high-tech workstations that you can buy that cost quite a bit of money, but I think they're worth it. Or you can do low-tech. Just have something on a table or a stand. I've got a higher counter in my office that I put a little stand on. I've got a higher counter in my home that I put a computer stand on. And I stand quite a bit, as I'll show you in a minute. Another thing you could do to really take this to a new level is, while you're standing, be moving. So if you're going to watch TV, you could be on a treadmill, or if you're working on the computer, you could be on a treadmill, or even this type of device, which isn't really a treadmill, it just moves as you walk. In the past, my wife has had a treadmill in the laundry room and a small TV on the wall, so as she's folding laundry, she's walking and watching TV. So I want you to think about how much you stand in a day, and how many of you have a smartwatch? Several of you do. All you got to do is look on it, and it will give you a report. I just happened to print out my last 7 days. I stand 15 hours a day, which surprised me. I didn't think it would be that much because I do sit down in the evening, but I'm up most of the other time. So here's my simple plan to help you live longer. If you must sit every 20 minutes, I want you to stand up and walk around a little bit. Now, please don't do that during my class, but otherwise do. And while you're standing up, you can do a few squats or a few lunges. That helps things even more. And I want you to try a standing workstation. If you have a job that you can access a standing workstation, I want you to do that. Or even if you're working at home, practice standing more. If you're watching TV, here's a simple rule. Every time there's a commercial, you stand up and move around a little bit or do some of those exercises. I want you to stand more for a longer life.